but I do want to throw out the episodes that are on there just for people who are curious. It starts at 7 a.m. tomorrow, which that doesn't do shit for anybody unless you're listening live, but I will just throw out the ones that are out there. Walking Distance, The Lonely, When the Sky Was Open, What You Need, The Four of Us Are Dying, The Fever, that's a terrible episode. Long Live Walter Jameson, good episode. Nice Place to Visit, The Stop at Willoughby, The Chaser, The Man in the Bottle, The Thing About Machines, another bad episode. The Howling Man, Nick of Time, The Lateness of the Hour, Penny for Your Thoughts, 22, The Obsolete Man, The Masks, Once Upon a Time, The Silence, Nothing in the Dark, The Invaders, The After Hours, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, that's the most famous Shatner episode. Living Doll, It's a Good Life. To Serve Man, that's my favorite episode. The Eye of the Beholder, that's probably consensus best episode. Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? That's another episode I love. Time Enough at Last, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, and that's where I'll leave it off because there's some other ones to play, but that'll be after midnight. So anyway, I just wanted to throw out what the Decades Network is throwing out there. So if anybody wants to have a day-late Twilight Zone marathon on Netflix, there you go. So anyway, there we go. We'll try to do this again in a year and see what the hell we come up with. And hopefully Vic will get some of the heavy hitters. I was hoping we would get like Eye of the Beholder or something so everybody could kind of talk about that one. But maybe next year we get what we get and we don't throw a fit. So fellas, what you been up to? Where are your horror adventures taking you? Because today I actually went to the movies for the first time in a while. Don't everybody chime in at once.
Well, I heard static and thought Vic was trying to talk, so I didn't want to interrupt.
No.
Vic doesn't talk. You did see Uncle Drew, though, Vic. Not that that's horror, but...
Yeah, that's not who related at all.
But you saw a movie, and that's something.
Yes, I did see a movie. It was Uncle Drew, and it was amazing, actually. I mean, I saw Superfly, too. Wasn't that within this week, or was that last week?
I don't think you had talked about it last week. I'm pretty sure it's this week.
Yeah, Superfly was so good. Everybody should go.
Was that like a remake or something?
I don't know if it's technically a remake or just based off of the original Superfly character. Because Superfly is an old character. You know what I'm saying? Priest. But it was obviously a modern day take on it, and he was in Atlanta and not New York, but I mean it's basically the same thing. And I mean it was about, but they were more gangster instead of pimps and whatever. But they were still drug dealers, and it was rival gangs. He was the original black superhero, if y'all didn't know. But I would
like
definitely go watch it. I'd recommend it 100 times out of 100. It was so good.
Nice.
And then Uncle Drew was good, man. I mean as long as you don't go in with any expectations, I mean, Shaq's always a great actor, and he's just Kyrie was pretty awesome. It was good, man. I laughed a lot. So if you want to go see it, I'll go watch it again. I'd recommend it.
Good deal. So the movie I went and saw today was Sicario, and Vic, I didn't realize this was a fucking sequel.
Well, I didn't know it was either until go and like, oh, huh.
Yeah, I had no idea. Vic, you're totally breaking up. But anyway, I went to the theater and I looked up Sicario just to see what rating it had on IMDb, because sometimes I'm surprised by how bad these ratings are for movies that I'm going to see. But it had like a 7-point-something. But whenever I looked up Sicario, I noticed that there was one from 2015 with the same actors, and I was like, well, I'll be damned. I had no idea that this was a sequel. But it was fun. The start was really good. The end was pretty good. And the middle was a little bit slower at times, but it was a good movie overall. I would recommend it with your movie pass. So we're seeing. Damn it, Vic. You're so breaking up. Blake, what about you? Where's your horror adventures taking you?
All over the place. I've been doing just a lot of different things. I'm finishing up and doing some chapters of this book, so I've been really immersed in that. But what I have got to watch has been really good. I watched one last night called, it's older, a little bit, a couple of years, called Savage Land.
Isn't that what was in the X-Men? Remember the Savage Land?
That was in the X-Men, but this has nothing to do with that. This is about murder. It's sort of a mockumentary film with footage or pictures and stuff. It's worth a watch. So it's set in Cristo de Sangre de Cristo, and which is just on the border of Texas. Texas or somewhere like that, Arizona. I think it's Texas. And they basically nabbed this guy for murdering everybody in a single town in like a weekend's time. Like over the span of like 2 days, he murdered 57 people, including a bunch of kids. But from the footage, it turns out that that's not actually what happened, and he got documentation. You don't ever really know what it is that killed all these people, but you see pictures and stuff, and it's pretty wild, man. I recommend it. So I've been watching that one, and I think it's a couple of years old. But Horror Freak News gave it good ratings. Fangoria and all those magazines like that said it was good. And I'm kind of hesitant when I see a movie that stars a bunch of people I've never heard of or has a director I've never heard of. But I got to give credit and chance to the unknown artists, because oftentimes they're real diamonds and they're up there. Like with the Monster Project and Starry Eyes, I thought those were both extremely well done, and they weren't really big time, films with a big budget. As a matter of fact, Starry Eyes, I believe, was crowdfunded, a portion of it on a Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So, yeah, so I've been watching a lot more independent horror. I haven't really watched anything super mainstream. I did watch Event Horizon a couple of weekends ago, my first time seeing it. It was really good. I liked it. But other than that, I really haven't been watching a whole lot of horror. I actually have been playing, I recently acquired a wrestling video game because, you guys got me back into wanting to play some wrestling video games. So on my off time from the book and in between interviews and all that, I've been working on playing this old-ass wrestling game. So I've been trying to get back into, doing that and trying to figure out the new control scheme because it's different than any other one I've ever played. So I was like, okay. But horror-related, I did play as the Undertaker in it, so that's sort of horror-related, right?
Vic will tell you it's horror because he sucks. Vic hates the Undertaker.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. But, yeah, that's where my horror adventures are taking me. Just watching older stuff, watching newer stuff that I've never seen, and then just working on the book stuff.
Yep, indeed. Well, I mean, I know you're a busy man, so that's cool. At least you got that far. I had just been watching Twilight Zone episodes for this fucking podcast, and I've been studying Richard Speck a little bit because we're 2 weeks away from the Richard Speck episode. What a fucking weirdo this guy was.
Yeah.
Especially in prison. Yeah. I encourage you all, if you get the chance, to go check out his prison videos. Because it's fucked up. I talked a little bit about it last week, but yeah, it's some weird shit. So next week, you know what we're doing, and this feels like a quick episode, but that's okay because I didn't want to go too long on this one anyway because I'm going to pass out at some point. 1983, top 10 horror movies of 1983, and we've had a interesting voting so far. Let me get into the results of our voting so far up to this point, okay? Let me get through all these. So basically, there's 10 movies that I've put in here, and the highest on IMDb gets a bye in the second round. So here we go. Videodrome versus Cujo. Cujo moves on. Psycho 2 versus The Hunger. Psycho 2 moves on. And currently, I believe Cujo is beating Psycho 2. So Cujo will probably be moving on to the semifinals. Something Wicked This Way Comes versus Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp wins. Christine versus House of the Long Shadows. Christine easily won. The House on Sorority Row versus The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone easily won. And then Sleepaway Camp versus Christine. Right now, Christine's winning. I'm actually kind of surprised because Sleepaway Camp jumped out to a big lead, but Christine turned it around on them. So I think next round is probably going to be Christine versus Cujo, which would be a battle of the Stephen King movies. And then Dead Zone versus the winner of that. So it looks like Stephen King's going to rule 1983. How about that?
Yeah, it's impressive. Stupid, but impressive.
Yep, this is the movie, or this is the year where they really started exploiting Stephen King movies. I mean, they were already doing some things like Salem's Lot and stuff like that, but in '83 they really amped it up. So we got 3 big ones that are going to be battling it out to the finish here. Apparently, Sleepaway Camp. I'm sad to say, it looks like they're going to fall off, and so Psycho 2. 2 good slashers from the '80s, and it's not about slashers this time around. Most of our 80s ones so far have been about slashers. These kind of feel like an afterthought at this point. Maybe not for us, but for the public.
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about the public, right?
Well, let's see. Evil Dead ruled 1981, right? That was 81. Who the fuck ruled? Yeah, so Evil Dead ruled 1981, and then 82 was ruled by The Thing, and then what do you guys think's going to rule 83? Just popular opinion. Cujo?
Cujo, of course. It's the best one out of the Stephen King movies anyway.
Interesting thing. Cujo actually...
15 has a big following, so they might.
Cujo has the lowest rating of any of these movies that we added on here on IMDb. It's a 6.0.
That's crazy.
Yeah, including Videodrome, which had a 7.3. That's a high. So basically, this was a 16 upsetting 1.
Wow.
Yeah, and now it's going to move on again. It looks like we'll report back to you guys next week when we do the top 10 of 1983. But yeah,
Cujo's a damn good movie.
Huh?
I said Cujo's a damn good movie.
Cujo's a beast. We talked about it once upon a time on this show. We've done that. How many Stephen King movies have we done at this point? We did Cujo.
That's it, ain't it? Is there anything else?
Isn't it? I can't remember anything else other than the top 5 Stephen King movies. We haven't done It. We haven't done Pet Sematary. Oh, we did The Shining. I know it's not.
Yeah, we did The Shining. Yeah.
You're right. I wasn't on it, so I forgot about it.
No, you weren't, because it was like December when we did it. No, it was January.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was sometime whenever I was working 100 hours a week.
Happy to report I made gold again last month, so they just make it harder, and I'm still doing it.
Good job.
Can't wait to do it. I had somebody come out and look at my fucking furnace in Central Air yesterday because I felt like it was making it's pumping out smelly air, like musky air, and I was like, fuck. I'm going to need a new furnace and a new Central Air unit at some point. That shit's going to be expensive, and I'm pissed off about it.
Hell yeah, that sucks.
Yep. I don't know how much life I have left in it. So I think that's one of the main reasons about why my wife wants to move, because she's like, if you got to buy all new shit, fuck it, let's just get out from it. And well, she doesn't really want to live in this area anymore anyway, or just in this house. The kitchen feels like super small for our amount of people,
That's because y'all got like 30 Mexicans living with you.
There are a lot of Mexicans in this Socorro movie. I was amused.
It's a Mexican movie, ain't it?
I mean, I guess. Josh Brolin is the star of 2018, isn't he? He was Thanos, he was Cable, and then he was the star of this movie.
Nice. He's a bum.
The hell of a year. He's not a bum, he was in the Goonies.
Well, but he's not in the Goonies, isn't he? And he'll never sign a poster.
Yeah, he's never going to sign it. He's like Kurt Russell now. That shit's gone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So